Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. MC-Mura here, and in today's video we are going to be talking all about Chipp and how you can use him in Guilty Gear Strive. So let us get started. So Chipp is most certainly the ultimate rushdown, high risk, high reward glass cannon character. When you try him out, you'll find that his mobility is off the charts. The dash, as you can see, is very fast, backdash is very good, and the air dash is also very powerful. And he also has some really good cross-up air normals, right? So his approach options from the air is very powerful. Now, one of these things that are a real highlight of Chipp is the fact that he gets 3 jumps in the air. This means that he have an insane level of aerial control, especially since he have special moves in the air like the aerial alpha blade for like some added mobility. So notice what I did here. I did like a double jump into an alpha blade and then you can still jump after it, right? That is an unparalleled level of control. Now, one of the other highlights is this annoying attack, the 2D in the air or the 2K in the air. 2K in the air is extremely obnoxious. This is an attack that's really hard for your opponent to deal with unless they have an anti-air that hit directly above their heads, and many characters will actually struggle. If the opponent blocked it and the last hit connected like that, Chipp is plus on block, so you actually get to follow up on your opponent, and even if your opponent actually got hit here, you can still follow up with combos after it. So it is really good, and because he have a triple jump and an air dash and all of that, it's a very easy move to actually surprise your opponent with, because it completely changes his jumping trajectory. So that is very powerful. Now, the highlight of Chipp, other than his aerial control, is that he have almost every offensive option under the sun. He have obviously the typical staggers, right? That's typical staggers with the gatlings, like almost every character has that, so that is pretty good. But he have a ton of other options. One of them is the Alpha Blade. This hits as a cross-up. The diagonal Alpha Blade also hits as a cross-up and you get to move. You have a command grab, and that is very powerful. You have a command overhead, right? And that is very good. He has the Rekas. So not only can he stagger with his Gatlings, but he also has these Rekas. And the Rekas are amazing because just like any normal, you can also stagger with them. So for example, if I did like heavy into Rekka like that, the first hit, this is -4, so it is relatively safe, right? In fact, most of the time you will actually wave punish your opponent if they try to take back their turn. But it is a block string if I did it right away. However, I can also delay it, cancel, and I will catch them off guard and get to do my combo. And you can even delay cancel the Rekkas after the first hit. So it's like I can do the first hit and then delay cancel the second one, or go for a delay cancel overhead, and again this will lead to actual combos. So his pressure is actually amazing, and once he gets the opponent to the corner, this can get ridiculous. So for example, like one combo like that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you get an uppercut, and look, that was like a 50% combo from a stagger. So that is very powerful. That is a very powerful pressure option. So we have the low, we have the overhead, we have the command grab, we have the cross-up, we have the aerial cross-up. So is it only that? It actually gets even more ridiculous once Chipp is in the corner. Because if you try to Alpha Blade and hold the button, Chipp will actually run up the wall, right? So you can do stuff like that, and this is like an instant jump behind them. So this was like an instant jumping cross-up, right? And again, this can lead to combos. Obviously, I don't have to talk about the potential with the blue Roman cancel as well, right? And not only that, you can also do something like this and stay in the front. This wasn't a cross-up, and still get to pressure your opponent. So he have a ton of weight. It's almost unfair how good his pressure is. Like, you have everything that you need, and obviously he has the typical throws, right? So the pressure game is off the charts. It's actually insane. The idea with Chipp is that you wanna get the momentum and turn Guilty Gear Strive into a single player game. You are just doing what you want and your opponent can do jack shit about it. If you are doing that with Chipp, you are a fantastic Chipp player. Now, is it all good with him? Unfortunately, no. He does have 3 weaknesses in my opinion. The first one is that obviously he's an ultimate glass cannon. Chipp is notorious for his low HP, so you can die very quickly. If your opponent does something like a wake up super, it will take a ton of your HP, so you have to be very careful. He does have good defense because this is 3 frame. He have a fast jab, he have an uppercut, which is like the beta blade, so he does have good defensive options, but the HP is very low. Now another issue with Chipp that you have to be aware of is the fact that he does have to get in, and most of his approach options are physical. So like the Gamma Blade, if the clone gets hit, Chipp gets hit as well. You kinda have to wait and be patient. You might be surprised, like be patient with Chipp, but this is actually how it goes. You wanna pick up your moment because you can't afford to take many hits. You have to be very careful of that. And finally, one of these things about Chipp is that he doesn't get a knockdown from his punches. So for example, if you do 2 jabs, you can get a Gamma Blade here or like a Beta Blade, right? But that is kind of difficult and you have to be very close and you don't really want to whiff that. You can do 2 punches into 6p and this could lead to Zareka, but this doesn't knock down, right? This will not knock down your opponent. So the conversions from the punches are pretty weak. Now from the kicks, things are a little bit better because 5k actually get links into itself, and then you can go into 2D and then continue the Reka, so that's a lot better in my opinion. So Chipp is certainly a powerhouse, right? A lot of the Japanese players are saying that he is the best character in the game. Now regarding this, maybe yes, maybe no, I'm not really sure about it, but he is certainly one of the strongest in my opinion, and is certainly a very capable character and a very fun character as well. So as we always do, we're gonna start talking about the character normals, and the first normal for Chipp is gonna be his 5p. This is 3 frames, so this is the fastest normal in the game, and that makes it really nice. Now it does have its issues, but combo wise you can combo 2 of them into the Beta Blade, so that is pretty nice. You can combo even up to 3 of them into the 6p and then complete the Rekas. Obviously this doesn't knock down, so this conversions isn't the best ever, but at least you are getting some damage out of a really fast attack. Now the issue here is that this is a high, so if your opponent is crouching, this will go over their head, at least against most characters that are not big bodies like Potemkin. So that is unfortunate. The 2p is a more standard punch. It is in the normal range of 5 frames. Obviously again you can combo it into the 6p and then follow up with the Reka for a sequence. Doesn't knock down obviously, but at least it is a good interruption tool. This is what you're most likely gonna be using if you are suspecting that your opponent is applying some sort of a pressure sequence with a lot of gaps in it, while the 5p is mostly gonna be used for punishes and for panic anti-air situations. Now the next one is gonna be the 6p, and 6p is obviously gonna be used in combos and gonna be used as an anti-air. Obviously you can use it and then cancel into a diagonal alpha blade. This is like a good conversion. It is hard to get something really meaningful out of it, to be honest, and one of these things about it is that it doesn't feel like it hits directly above his head, right? So you are suspect to have situations like that happen, but you know, you are gonna try to make the most out of the situation. Now let's talk about the kicks, and 5k is one of the hallmarks of Chipp because it gatlings into itself, it gatlings into his 2k, and it gatlings into his 2d, right? And this makes it a very good combo tool because for example you can do 5k 2k into 2d, right? And then combo into Zareka. That is a very good option. You can also use it in pressure sequences, like let's say for example that he's gonna be blocking. Because of the delay, right, you can get the same style of sequence going, right, and then get some follow-ups. One good thing about this is that if you happen to get this near the wall like that, you actually get some pretty good follow-ups because the overhead follow-up to the Reka will actually ground bounce at this instant, so you can get some really good conversions out of it. And it makes it also a really good hit confirm tool, right? Just because you being able to use this makes it a really easy hit confirm to use, right? And you can also just go for the 2D for the hard knockdown and get to pressure your opponent. So this is a fantastic tool for Chipp, and obviously you can use it to blue Roman jump cancel and then blue Roman cancel like that. Chipp, we will talk later about his aerial normals, but because of just how the character works, the 5k can actually be used a lot in this situation. So it is a fantastic normal all around. Now the 2k is also very good. This is your primary low. It only Gatlings into 2D, right? So this makes it a little bit limited, but the fact that you can do 2D, and 2D by itself is actually fantastic normal, but obviously you can follow up with the Rekka like that. It combos from this attack, like if you're doing the 2D in the air. This is the combo, it's like you will go from that into the 2k, right? So this makes it, this is one of its uses. Obviously this is gonna be your low check, and you're gonna be using it a lot in pressure because his this 2s is actually not a low, so it is good to use it in these situations. Now one of the things about him is that he also has a 6k, and this 6k can be used. This is an overhead attack, so if your opponent is crouching, but let's say for example that he is crouching, he's gonna get hit by that, right? So that makes it really good to use. Obviously you can use it and then red Roman cancel to just follow up and convert from that. So that is pretty nice. But one of the things about the 6k is that you can use it in some meaty setup situations and then actually combo a 2k after it. It's gonna be a little bit hard to time, but you can actually do this. I'm not getting it at once, huh? Yeah. Here we go. Took me like 10 times, but we finally did it. So it is possible, it does work, you just have to a little bit of timing here. And one thing about the 6k is that it also wall bounces in the corner. So if you get like a red Roman cancel like that, you can go into the 6k, and this will actually just wall bounce near the wall. So you can like use it in some combos if you want, right, and then continue from that point. So it is a pretty good option, and just having an overhead that you can throw on, in there, and it is safe from block actually. So if he block everything and try to punish us with jab, it is pretty safe for the most part. So it is a really good attack to use. Now the next attack we're gonna talk about are his slashes. Obviously close slash is gonna be your primarily punish tool, so you're gonna be using it a lot for delayed Gatling pressure and simply punishing your opponent. It will Gatling into the far S and the H, and obviously the other command normal, so that is pretty nice. It is gonna be one of your main primary tools because you can then do it into the crouching or the 2H, and this is like one of your main combo rules. So it's a very standard close S, but it is very good, right? And just because of his walk speed, it works out really well. And you can do like 3 of them. If you have the momentum, you can do close S, far S into 5H. At this point, it will be hard for the Rekka to combo, right? This might work on some characters, but might work on others. So you have to be a little bit careful, but you can always get like a red Roman cancel if you want here, and just follow up with your pressure normally or in a more safer manner. One of the issues with Chipp, in my opinion, is that his combo consistency is pretty whack in a way. He have a lot of combos of character specific combos, in my opinion. Now the next one is gonna be the far S, and far S for Chipp is very good. It have a lot of range. It Gatlings into the 5H, right? So that is pretty nice. And one of the strengths of this thing is that because of its range and because of his momentum, it's a really good pressure tool. Now it does extend his hurt box. So if you're trying to counter poke your opponent a lot, it can lose. But let's say, for example, that you knock them down like that, you're gonna have some distance. It is very good for these applications. And again, if he is blocking, it's very good for actually delaying into it from the closest, right? Because you can then get follow-up combos like these for a lot of damage. So that is pretty nice. It's one of your key attacks that you're gonna be using a lot, especially if you can also delay cancel it into the Rekka itself to catch them on the delay, right? This is like a typical cancel, this is a delay cancel, I'm gonna play it, right? And then you get to follow up with your combos and get to follow up on your pressure. So it is a very good one. It doesn't have as much hit stun, so you don't want to delay as much for Rekka, or maybe your opponent will press a slower normal, so you can. So you kind of have to get a feel of what your opponent like to do. And obviously you can even just Gatling it into the heavy, right, to catch the delay and get to follow up with your combo. So it's a fantastic poke all around. Now the 2S is a pretty interesting attack. One of the things about this is that this is a mid. It looks like a low, but it's not a low, it's actually a mid. So that is a little bit unfortunate because most of the other 2S attacks are lows. But it is good, and you're gonna be using this a lot in pickup combos. So for example, like let's say you did the overhead follow-up, right? Because it gatlings into 2H even on whiff. So if your opponent tried to whiff punish you for this, they can get caught by the 2H. And like I showed you, it's useful for pickup, right? It have a lot of range. So it's like even if you pick them up with the overhead, knocks it down with the overhead like that, the 2S have really good range and picks up into the 2H really well. And that's why you're gonna even be doing it a lot in combos, right? 2S into 2H is a very stable combo bread and butter for Chipp. So this is mostly gonna be used for combos and pickup. If you are using it for the neutral, I would say the 4S is better in my opinion, have more range, and generally is better for pressure purposes, but this one is good, and the trick of being able to whiff cancel it into the 2H is gimmicky, but it can be used. Although the 2H obviously have a lot of whiff recovery, so you have to be careful, right? Now, next up is the 5H. And if you're talking about a counter poke, like your opponent is doing a normal and you want to counter poke them, the 5H is actually really good. I think it's his best tool at that. And if you happen to cancel it on a counter hit, if you happen to get a counter hit, you can cancel into the Gamma Blade and then actually purple bomb and cancel and get follow-up combos. So that is pretty nice. I think like this is a very easy hit confirm in my opinion, right? Because you still get a grounded combo if you want. So that is really, really good. It's again also gonna be used a lot, obviously, in the situation of Gatlings, where you just wanna delay the Gatling to catch them with this delay. One cool thing about this is that you can like let's say you delay cancel it into the Rekka like that, you can even, instead of getting the purple Roman cancel here, you can even or getting the red Roman cancel, you can even get a purple one and get to follow up with the combos if you don't want to get the red Roman cancel. As you can see, the purple one can actually do a lot. So you're gonna be doing a lot of this into the Rekka as well. So it's something that you can frame trap into and frame trap out of. It counter pokes really well. In juggles, this actually sends the opponent flying away, so I don't love it in aerial juggles, right? It sends them flying away like that, which is not bad. Obviously you can use one of the supers afterwards and that will juggle really well, but it is you have to know that this is how it functions in juggle. So if in juggle, if in the air juggles you're doing stuff like that, it will knock them far away. So this is something you have to be aware of. Obviously, really good normal for Chipp. It's only -4 on block as well, so it is surprisingly safe. Like even if you do it really up close, right, there is a lot of pushback and it is surprisingly safe. So that's pretty nice. Now the next one is gonna be the 2H, and 2H is one of the key normals for Chipp, both in his combo routes and in his anti-air game. Obviously it is gonna be your main anti-air game, It's one of the main anti-airs. It's a high risk, high reward anti-air. You can get a lot of damage out of it. As you can see, that was a lot of damage meterless from an anti-air because you get the big counter message. And in the grounded combos, it's really good because it allows you to have some air follow-ups after the diagonal alpha blade. So typically with Chipp, you're gonna be doing either close S or 2S into 2H, right? And after the 2H, you do the diagonal alpha blade, and then you get to follow up with an air normal. If you do it grounded, it is hard for the diagonal alpha blade to hit, but in the air like that, it is easy to get like a jump K here. If you're a little bit near the corner, like maybe from here, we can get like a jump S, right? So that is gonna be one of the key uses for it. Using it in the aerial combo. It's a key attack in his combo game, I would say. So it is useful in combos and it's useful as an anti-air. Now the next one is gonna be the 6H. This ground bounces and again can be used in frame traps. So for example, you can do close S into 6H, and this will actually wall bounce like that. This is gonna be used a lot in combos as well because of the wall bounce property, right? So if you can get something like this, right, kind of wall splat. So it is really good. Obviously, you see it have a lot of use in the air, like when you are wall running as well. The 6H is very powerful there. It have a lot of range, but it is slow. But again, have a lot of pushback, and obviously you can do it, and then delay cancel into the Rekas as well to catch the opponent off guard. So that is pretty powerful, right? You will notice that most of Chipp normals have this quality where you can stagger into them, or stagger after them, or cancel into the Reka. Like knowing how to catch your opponent timings and delays and catch them with the Rekas, or catch them with combo extensions in general is the key part of being successful with Chipp. Now the next normals are gonna be the dust attack. The 5D is actually pretty good because it has a disjointed hitbox. Obviously when you hit them and you get the hold version, you can hold up and then he will do a homing dash. This is a very standard, very typical. The 2D is also really good. This is one of Chipp's best normal. It's pretty fast. This is actually 7 frames, so it is pretty fast. Have a good range, as you can see. And obviously you can combo a Reka after it. You can just go for the hard knockdown and then go for like some sort of aerial setup if you want. So the 2D is actually one of his best normals, and because it's easily combable from the 5K, it makes it a really useful attack to go for. Even if you don't want to cancel into the Reka, going for the hard knockdown like that is still really good. So let's now briefly talk about Chipp's air normal. The first one is the jumping punch. This is not really dash cancelable or jump cancelable, doesn't really have good gatlings. This is mostly a jump back, panic, air to air style attack, and it is pretty fast and the angle it hits at is pretty good, so it's not a bad jump back air to air style normal. The next one is the jumping kick, and this is mostly a combo tool. It's one of his key combo attacks, for example after comboing from a diagonal alpha blade, so that's pretty nice. You can even use it in moment cancel combos like that, right? So that's pretty good. I will be leaving a combo section at the end that's showing you how you can do some of these. So it is mostly gonna be a combo tool. Now the next one are gonna be the jumping S and the jumping H, and let me start first with the jumping S. This attack is pretty fast, have a really good hitbox for a jumping. It's useful in aerial combos, especially in the near the corner situation. It is jump cancelable, it is dash cancelable. One of the good things about it is that it has gatling into jumping dust. So like you can do a double overhead jumping sequence like that. And if you happen to land it, you can then follow up easily into whatever normal you want, right? You'll find that following up grounded after that is actually pretty good. Right, so you're getting some really good damage here out of an aerial approach option. That's pretty nice. Now, because of how it hits and because it have a cross-up hitbox, it's also really good in these situations when you want to use the Alpha Blade and then wall run to just surprise your opponent. So you will be doing some of that, and if you delay this a little bit, you can actually just go over the head here, right? And even go for the cross-up. That's like someone just saw. Maybe if you happen to do that, you can win roam and cancel and keep it going, right? So it is very, very good for set play situations. Now the next one is gonna be the jumping H, and this one is pretty much kind of the same deal. It is really good as just a jumping attack because of how it hits. It hits twice, which makes it really nice. It hits as a cross up. Obviously, once more, you can like red roam and cancel here and get more follow-ups. It is really good in combos, and just like the jumping S, it can also be used in this situation to get a cross-up jump here. And obviously, you can combo easily after it. It have a lot more hit stun, so it is easier to combo into it. Even grounded like that, it is easy to combo and follow up after it. Because it is twice as well, it makes it really easy to actually follow with, right? Like even if you do it early, you'll still get the late kind of like jumping hit, which will allow you to easily combo after it. So it is a fantastic air normal all around. The next one is the jumping D, and jumping D by itself is not that fantastic, I would say. It's a normal that certainly have seen better days, but it's still pretty good, especially if you combine it with jump S like that. I think that is pretty nice. In aerial combos, it spikes the opponent, so like you are seeing, it will knock them down. So again, it does have some uses in some specific combo situations, but not the ultimate thing. And again, I will be leaving the combo section at the end. Now, this leaves us with the jumping 2K, and this attack could be extremely oppressive depending on who you are fighting. If you happen to land it and the final hit like that, you can actually follow up with a 2K and that will combo. So aerial 2K into grounded 2K, this will link. If your opponent happen to block it, it is plus on block. So it's not weird to actually see Chipp doing this, right? Just pulling his opponent with the jumping 2K. It's actually this is actually better than you would expect, right? So his aerial approach in general is pretty powerful. It complements his aerial mobility really well. The gatlings are really good, and the hitboxes are really good as well. So let's now talk about Chipp's special moves, and the first one I will start off with is the Alpha Blade. It's pretty much a dashing slash. It moves a set distance, so if you are close, Chipp is gonna recover far from the opponent, and if you're doing it from a long range, Chipp is gonna recover right next to his opponent. This is important. The attack itself is -4, so it is not terribly unsafe. Most of the characters may not be able to punish it, but obviously the distance after it hits or get blocked could affect the follow-up combo potential. So for example, if you are doing it from really far, let's say for example here you're gonna try to like purple roam and cancel, maybe you will not be able to get like the best follow-ups here. Gonna be hard to follow up, but from some distance where you are a little bit closer, following up is gonna be a little bit easier. So you get the idea and where I'm going with this, right? And one of these things about this attack that makes it really good is the wall, because if their back is to the wall and you just do it like that, obviously Chipp is gonna land behind them. Now if you hold the punch button while you are doing it, Chipp is gonna start to run up the wall. And the thing here is that to jump off of the wall, you have to press the opposite direction. So while I'm running off the wall now, I'm gonna press right, and then Chipp will jump out, jump from the wall or jump out of the wall. Now this gives this attack a lot of mix-up potential, because you can just you can just do it and just land behind them, and that's pretty powerful. You can do it and then go for an aerial normal. You go off the wall and hit them with an aerial normal. Obviously can go a little bit higher, then come up with a 2K. A lot of mix-up potential in how you want to use it, making it a really good mix-up tool. Now there is also an airborne version of the Alpha Blade, and this can be Tiger Need, so you can do it as low to the ground as possible. And it is easier to follow up on hits with this one, but it is more unsafe because of the landing recovery, right? So if I'm doing it like that, I am getting punished easier because there is a little bit of landing recovery, but it is easier to actually follow up on hit after this one, in my opinion. It's a lot easier because it pops them up higher. Now, one of the cool things about the aerial Alpha Blade is the fact that it's gonna be used a lot in aerial mobility situations, right? And because Chipp have triple jumps, you can double jump, do it, and still have one more jump left. So like for example, you can double jump Alpha Blade, jump back, and then 2K or whatever, right? Or maybe like do a shuriken. So it's really good for these purposes. The next one is gonna be the Diagonal Alpha Blade, and this attack is a key component of his combo structure. Mostly you'll be doing 2H into the Diagonal Alpha Blade, right? And then follow up with whatever combo is appropriate. I will be leaving a combo section at the end. So it's a key section of his pressure structure and his combo routes. Now, one of the cool things about it is that it is actually -1 on block, and you still have an aerial action afterwards, right? So after it's blocked like that, you can get a single jump or a dash or whatever. So maybe you can do something like this into the shuriken, or like dash away into shuriken, or like jump again into 2K. You can do a lot of options after it. Maybe you just, come down with a 2 jumping H if you want. A lot of attacks that you can do, and the same rules still apply on the wall, right? Typically you will just do it. If you hold kick, Chipp will just run up the wall, and then obviously you can come down with the 2K if you want. Obviously the angle he's gonna come off higher, so it's gonna be harder to go for the cross up here, but you can still do the 2K if you want, and just pressure your opponent afterward, right? And like we said, in this situation, because if you happen to get the final hit, Chipp is gonna be plus, and you will actually get the counter hit. So that's pretty nice. Now, the thing about this in the wall is that if you do this attack near the wall, the Diagonal Alpha Blade, he will do an additional hit, and this is like an automatic additional hit, right? And it's pretty cool. It leads to a lot of damage, as you can see. It's just that by itself is actually a lot of damage. Then you can follow up with however you want. So for example, like this is a pretty standard follow up, which it does a lot of damage. So it's a pretty important combo attack, I would say. And obviously, just like the other ones, there is an aerial version, and this is kind of like a little bit of a dive kick kind of thing. This is unsafe on block, so if your opponent having to actually block it, this is unsafe. You will get punished out of that one. Again, you can Tiger Knee it, but also you can actually get blocked, and this will also hit as a cross-up, right? If you happen to do it like that, it will hit as a cross-up, and depending on how it hit, it can actually combo. And in the corner, you can actually combo the two of them into each other. So you can actually get something like that lane, right? This is actually one of the most damaging combo routes for Chipp. So it is a pretty good combo attack as well. If you don't want to do the whole jump, cancel, million things he have going on after the Diagonal Alpha Blade, you can just link an aerial Diagonal Alpha Blade afterward, and you will get an easier combo in my opinion. And obviously you can just Roman cancel here and keep up with the pressure or the offense. Now the next attack I want to talk about is the Beta Blade, and Beta Blade is his uppercut. This uppercut is pretty good. Obviously you can combo into it, and it's very good in the wall actually for the wall run combo. You want to do a 2H into the uppercut. It will hit a little bit weird, right? But it will allow you to easily get the wall run thing going, right? So it is a very good, like most of the run up wall Roman cancel combos you'll see are gonna be 2H into the uppercut, just because it pops them pretty high. Then you get the red Roman cancel, and then you start running up the wall, and doing whatever you want. So that is pretty nice. Now this uppercut is a true reversal. So if, for example, he is pushing us on wake up like that, you can actually wake up with it. If I don't mess it up like 90,000 times. Yes, it is a true DP. Now the thing about it is that only the first hit, as you can see, it hits twice, right? So it hits twice, but only the first hit have invincibility. So it's not a fantastic anti-air, but it is a reversal option, right? And obviously there is an aerial version as well. You're gonna be doing it a lot out of the jumping H. So it's like jumping H that hits twice, and then cancelling into the aerial beta blade. So that is pretty nice. Now the next up attack is gonna be the Gamma Blade, and I'm not a big fan of Gamma Blade in this game because the clone is considered Chipp pretty much. So it's like if Angie is trying to attack and I do it, notice that let me try it one more time. Right, notice that when he knocked down the clone, I got knocked down with him, right? So, like, if the clone gets hit, Chipp gets hit as well. So that is a little bit unfortunate. It makes it a lot risky to use. Obviously, you can use it in the neutral like that, and if you happen to land it, you can get a durable Roman cancel, and that could lead to good damage output. But it is a very risky option, especially given Chipp's low health as it is. Right, it makes it like a hard option to justify. But one of the cool things, like I showed before, is that if you happen to land like a 4-range 5H, this is actually one of the best follow-up combos in my opinion. Just cancelling into that one and then getting the purple Roman cancel and getting the follow-ups here. That one is pretty good. I'm a big fan of that one. So outside of this, I haven't been using it that terribly often just because of the high risk it possesses, but it is there, right? It is some sort of a projectile option for Chipp, and obviously you can just use it as a way to just approach, right? So you can just use it like that and then you can cancel after it and use it as some sort of an approach option. But the issue is it will become like a separate hitbox, but again, if the clone gets hit, Chipp also gets hit. So that is unfortunate. Now the next attack we are gonna talk about is gonna be the aerial shuriken. This is some sort of control tool. I think it's not very good. I mean, it controls some space, and if you purple Roman cancel it, like you can still get a dash here and maybe apply some pressure, but it is slow and you can Tiger Meat, but there is still a sizable recovery, right? It doesn't lead too much. It's not really a combo attack either. It's like a stalling tool. Like maybe in the neutral you are just waiting it out and trying to walk back and forth and annoy your opponent. Have some air movement. Maybe they will try to anti-air you or try to challenge you, and then you will use it just to pester or annoy them. But other than being an annoyance tool, I don't think it actually does that much. At least that's my opinion. It's like I couldn't even get it in any way to actually hit and get a combo out of it. So that is unfortunate. Now the next couple of specials are vital, and they are the key to Chipp's pressure game. Most of the other attacks have been really good, but these two are the ones that really matter. The first one is gonna be the Rekka. And the Rekka is obviously a 2-part. You're doing a quarter circle forward and slash. This is the first one. And that attack is -4 on block. And as you can see, it does have a good pushback, so it is actually pretty nice, right? And it can even set up a whiff punish scenario. So like, maybe from spacing like that one, right? So you can use it to like set up a whiff punish scenario. That's pretty good. Now the thing about it is that you can delay or stagger the cancel into the first part of the Rekka, right? And this will get you a counter. Now after that first part, there is a second part. If you also do another quarter circle forward and slash, he will do the slide. If you do a quarter circle forward and kick, he will do the overhead. And this overhead is actually really unsafe on block, so you will want to use it after you have conditioned your opponent. So after the first part, you can go straight into the overhead, or into the low, right? So into the low or into the overhead, or into the low then the overhead, right? So it's like you can do the palm into low, palm into overhead, palm into low into overhead, and you can stagger each of these, right? You can stagger each of these for some mixed subs and some frame traps. Now these are gonna be vital because just delaying your pressure like that with Chipp, the Gatlings, they are very powerful in combos. You're gonna be doing a lot of them in combos like that. If you happen to land the overhead, for example, like let's say for example that we got the overhead to link. Let's just remove our opponent from actually blocking right now because I want to show you like the overhead. You can very easily combo after, so that's actually really nice. And if you happen to get any of them to land, like let's say for example that you got the like heavy slash into the slide, right? You can easily like red Roman cancel here and follow up with your combo. That's pretty nice. You can even purple Roman cancel if you delay the cancel. Right, so here you can purple Roman cancel and still get a follow-up conversion. This can actually lead to a ton of damage as well. And if your opponent is near the wall, you can do the 8-8 Roman cancel. So for example, here is near the wall, right? You can get it and get a wall run combo, which will lead to a ton of damage out of it. So playing Chipp is gonna be, like I said time and time again, it's all about staggering between his Gatlings and staggering the Wreckers. They are almost ridiculously safe. This bomb being -4 is very good, and just messing around with a lot of slash into the bomb, delaying canceling that, maybe getting a purple Roman cancel here into a big follow-up combo. That stuff is really nice. As you can see, could lead to a ton of damage output. So these attacks are a vital part of Chipp's pressure, right? Just going for the staggers, the throws, and the delay is actually very powerful. Now, once you have conditioned your opponent to block, let's say we condition our opponent to block between all of the alpha blades, between the Rekas and all of that, we got the opponent to block, then you can use your command grab. And that command grab is very good because you can cancel into it on block and catch many of your opponent potable. Obviously it can be interrupted, but let's say they are conditioned to block, you will actually be able to get it to hit like that, and it does a lot of damage. Obviously you can also like you can Roman cancel here, right, and get some follow-up combos as well, so it could lead to a lot of damage. And it's hard to react to command grab, right, because Chipp disappears and it looks in many ways like the diagonal alpha blade. So this is the diagonal alpha blade and this is the command grab, and the animation is kind of similar, I feel. So you're gonna be catching your opponent a lot with this one, I feel like. It's a vital part. Once you have conditions into block and you respect your advantage because of all the staggers, then you can move over to the command grabs and really make them up for a ton of damage output. So now let's talk about Chipp's Overdrive or his super attacks, and the first one is the big cinematic super. It's pretty much like a maximum spider from Marvel game style attacks, and it is pretty good because it does a lot of damage, but it also have a couple of issues that I'm not a fan of. The first thing is that the invincibility doesn't kick in right away. So let's say for example that you are using it to wake up like that. You can't really notice it said reversal, but I still got hit out of it. So you can't really use it as a wake up Shoryuken or a wake up reversal, right? There is invincibility. The invincibility kicks in after the flash, right? Like after the zoom in animation. Like this is when the invincibility kicks in, but it's not right away. So it is weak as a reversal. Another thing is that if you use it in the corner, it doesn't wall break, and it doesn't even keep them in the corner. So it's like it will bring them back to mid-screen, so you don't get the added damage and the added bonus of the positive advantage and getting more meter. and obviously the added damage of the wall break, nor do you get to keep the corner, so using it when you have them like wall splat or something isn't that effective. The other super is the clone attack, and this one I feel is a little bit better because this one does actually wall break, and if done near the wall it will cause a wall break, so you get the added damage of the wall break and the positive advantage of getting the added meter. But the thing about Chipp, in my opinion, is that he is much better off using the RC mechanic than he is using his supers. At least that is my opinion. Because obviously, yes, while the first super isn't like invincible, on frame 1 you still have DPs that you can use. From like, for example, you can wake up with your beta blade and then use it for RCs and get some follow-ups. Obviously the Rekas, like you get a lot of mileage out of purple RCs here. Let's say for example that you even got a combo in the corner, right? I will much better off use a combo like that over using my super for the like a big added damage. I think he benefits a lot more out of that. And even defensively, obviously he can't really take a hit, so maybe even defensively you're better off using the yellow RC just to keep yourself safe, because it is dangerous to take a hit with Chipp, right? Because of his low HP. So his overdrives, in my opinion, they're not the best, and you're better off using the RCs, but again, that is just my opinion. Now I will be leaving you with the combo section, so this brings us to the end of the Chipp guide. If you have enjoyed this video, please leave a like or a comment, it helps the channel so much. I will be leaving a link to the Patreon page and the Discord server page in the description below. Thank you very much for watching and stay safe.
Counted so long ago, enemies keep calling after me. Still unknowledge, yeah, you've got it all. If you ask me, yeah, it's all a game of chance. Don't know the thing, kid. Life never goes our way that you want. That's how it is. No matter what life throws at you, take it all. Whoa, fly like a tiger, walk in the park, play the hero till I die. Fly like an eagle, soar through the sky, be free till you die. I don't believe in any miracles. I risk a lot any day. Gambling's only for fools. Take nothing for granted. If you don't seize the chance, it's over for you. Life never goes the way you want. That's how it is. No matter what happens, face it all head on. Whoa, fly like a tiger, walk in the park, play the hero till I die. Fly like an eagle, soar through the sky, be free till you die. through the sky. Be free. Go soar through the sky. Be free till you die. I don't believe in any miracles. I risk a lot every day. Gambling's only for fools. Take nothing for granted. If you don't seize a chance, it's over for you. Life never goes the way you want. That's how it is. No matter what happens, face it all head on. Whoa, fight like a tiger, walk in the park, play the hero till I die. Fly like an eagle, soar through the sky. Be free till you die. Life is a cloud swimming against the harshest wave. The moment you give in, you'll get wiped out. Oh, fight like a tiger, walk in the park, play the hero till I die. Fly like an eagle, soar through the sky. Be free till you die. Fight like a tiger. Fight like a tiger. Fly like an eagle, soar through the sky.